So I don't want to sound too cheeky here, but the word that popped into my head after that last sip was luscious. Hey Scotch lovers, welcome to Scotch for Dummies, where we try to help you make wise Scotch purchases with your money. Today we've got an interesting opportunity where the Scotch Malt Whisky Society has asked us to give our perceptions on a particular bottle that is available on their website right now. So if you've not heard of the Scotch Malt Whisky Society, we're going to call it the SMWS, let me tell you a little bit about this private whiskey club. First, it is private, so there's a membership fee, which is $99 a year. But it's the largest whiskey club in the world. 30,000 plus members, been around since 1983. We're members, obviously, if you can see some of our bottles that we have. Been a member for a few years, probably coming up on 5. Absolutely love it. And I'm excited to be able to talk about them today and get into this one particular whiskey. Now, what makes them unique is that they actually procure whiskey from over 140 distilleries in Scotland. And then they hold on to those whiskeys and they put them in front of a tasting panel that blind tastes them, and when they determine that the whiskey's ready to be bottled, they put it in a bottle. Now what makes it interesting is when they put it in a bottle, they don't put the distillery name on it. They do that for some legal purposes, but it makes it fun for us because they do use a numbering code. They have a number, and on the first part of the number is the distillery number, and then the second part is what number cask from that distillery. And today's bottle that they're asking us to give a perception in, this is bottle 115.24, so it's the 24th cask from that distillery. This is an 11-year-old, and it's a part of their sweet, fruity, and mellow profile. They have 12 different profiles that they've got, that they've divided their whiskeys into to make it easier for people to know what they're really getting. But this one's part of that particular sweet, fruity, and mellow profile, and it's 58.4% ABV. All of their whiskeys are cask strength because they're single cask whiskeys. But this is one of 205 bottles. There are still 50 plus bottles available on their website. And I want to get into exactly what I get off of this bottle. They come up with some really cheeky names. This one's Luscious Crumble, and they have some really interesting tasting notes. I don't want to read those because I don't want those to influence what I get on this bottle. I'm going to pour myself a small little dram. I've actually got one pre-poured that I put a cap full of water on so I can get into the differences of neat and a little diluted. But let that breathe for a hot second and tell you what I get off of Luscious Crumble bottle 115.24. It's light. I get a perfumey smell. Oh, there is some fruit there though. Some ripe fruit. It is very light. I have a feeling water's going to really open this one up. Pretty thick on the glass. Obviously, these are natural color. Let's get in there and see what I taste. Wow. I get some honey that comes right down the center of the palate. It's a little hot, and I don't think that's spiciness. I think that's the ABV. This is 58.4, which is not nearly as hot as some of them are. But that leaves a little room to play with when it comes to water. There's something else on the nose after I've taken a drink. Believe it or not, I get more of a honeycomb than honey now, and that's after I've tasted it. So let me give it one more and then we'll get on to the water. So I don't want to sound too cheeky here, but the word that popped into my head after that last sip was luscious. And I know that's kind of cheating because that's what it's part of the name, but wow, they nailed this one. Really, the second tasting here really had a much more of a pop. It was much more full. It still had the same flavor profile with some of that honeycomb, if you will, that comes down the center. Not nearly as spicy because it's, you know, my palate's already kind of been hit with that alcohol, but it was much more full. It was much more, honestly, luscious. It was, it's quite interesting. I'm very excited to see what water does on this. So I'm going to get into this one, which I've actually watered down about 20 minutes ago, and we'll see what happens. And that's what I anticipated. The nose is so much more full. It's rounded. That ABV vapor is not there because of the water, and I'm able to really get in there. Definitely have more ex-bourbon notes, if you will now. Oaky, sweet sugar. Not quite powdered sugar, but a little sweeter than granular sugar, if you know what I mean. It's definitely there. There is a citrus note underneath the sugar. I wouldn't say it's like an over-the-top lemon or anything like that, but there's something in there that gives it a little bit more flavor coming on the nose. There is a little bit of an edge, but the sweetness with water is so much more. It's obviously softer. I probably watered this down to somewhere around 50% ABV, and I think it's perfect right now. It really comes. It's very lasting, and actually the late finish is getting more into like a passion fruit, maybe a mango-ish, something of that nature. Not quite a peach, but something that type of fruit, if you will. Definitely has a little bit of a lemon cake. So it's got that sweetness from the cake, the sugar that you get on that, and a little bit of lemon down the middle of the palate with it. And it is really a very long-lasting finish. I still think it's part of the ABV. I think that's an alcohol burn that's lasting it so long, because I don't have a spicy note in there, but it's really enjoyable. And like I said, I don't have experience with this distillery, so I don't have anything to compare it from in my memory banks. But I'm really intrigued. I want to go out and find more of this distillery and see what I can get on it. So if you're interested in this bottle, go out to smwsa.com, become a member, and hopefully they still have a few of them left when you get there. One of the things I really like about SMWS is it exposes you to distilleries that aren't as popular and you're not going to find on your local shelf. Bottles like this one. So I hope you get a chance to get one. I'm going to pour myself another dram and enjoy it. Cheers.